Kid Rock invited Bill Maher, the Trump hater, to the White House, and they apparently had a dinner with Dana White, Kid Rock, and Trump.
As you know, 12 days ago, I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a fucking comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute. So,
yeah, but that's the lefties doing that shit.
So, okay.
Listen, this is the difference between the right and the left. The right, maybe they didn't like Obama, fine. But they were willing to, give him a shot. Like, okay, let's see what he does. Is he good? Is he bad? Let's see what he does. And let's judge him by his actions. And then his actions sucked, right? And then the right was like, fuck this guy. We don't like this guy. Compare that to the left, who judged Trump as Hitler before he was even inaugurated his first term. You know what I mean? They didn't judge Trump on his actions. They just judged Trump because the media told them to judge Trump. That's the difference between the left and the right. The left, they're kind of brain dead. Let's be frank. They're brain dead.
So meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy, really a dumb guy, fired like a dog, his show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did.
That's funny. That's like doubling down. Yes, I meant those things.
Humor, and I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a fuck. So no, I'd go MAGA. And to the president's credit, there was no pressure to. After we left the Oval Office, he showed me the little room off the office, the one where Clinton used to
get blown.
Okay. The blowjob room. Okay. Well, not anymore. That's where they the merch now. It is. And he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which I appreciated. The guy I met is not the person who the night before the dinner shit-tweeted a bunch of nasty crap about how he thought this dinner was a bad idea and what a deranged asshole
I
was.
remember that tweet. It was like, Kid Rock asked me to have Bill Maher over for dinner. I don't like it, but I'll do Kid Rock a favor.
I read it and thought, oh, what a lovely way to welcome someone to your house.
What? He's honest.
But when I got there...
And it's not like you've been purely innocent. You've been talking shit about him for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
I wasn't living there. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course. Who doesn't? My friend said to me, what are you going to wear to the White House? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky. I'll tell you that.
That motherfucker, Zelensky, I think he does that to remind people that, hey, listen, it's a war, so I need your money, So give me $150 billion. I'll be back for $200 billion next week.
Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public.
I've seen him laugh.
But he does, including at himself. And it's not fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. Okay, example. In the Oval Office, he was showing me the portraits of presidents, and he pointed to Reagan and said, in all seriousness, the best thing about him, his hair.
Kind of looks like Trump's hair.
I said, well, there was also that whole bringing down communism thing, waiting for the button next to the Diet Coke button to get pushed and I go through the trap door. But no, he laughed, he got it. I said to him at one point, Mr. President, the dog, that's unusual in the White House. He said, well, a lot of the presidents, they had a dog for political reasons. I said, no, people love dogs, that's what that is. Oh yeah, okay, that's true. I'm telling you what happened.
up, Jack?
At one point, we were walking through his amazing, it is an amazing...
Maher, 40 years, a wannabe comic, and still unfunny. I agree, but he can be funny here and there, you know, a line here and there.
Of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election, because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response...
Yeah, isn't that annoying when you talk to somebody and they're not listening to... They're like on standby, waiting for to say their thing, right? That's not a proper, regular human conversation, is it?
The things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine. There were so many moments when I hit him with a joke or contradicted something, and no problem. At dinner, he was asking me about the nuclear situation in Iran in a very genuine, hey, I think you're a smart guy, I want your opinion sort of way. And I said, well, obviously you're privy to things about it, I'm not, but for what it's worth, I thought the Obama deal was worth letting play out, because we made Iran destroy 98% of the uranium, and they were 15 years away from a bomb. And then I said to him, but we got rid of that. You got rid of that.
Yeah, but there was some shenanigans with Obama giving Iran hundreds of billions of dollars through cash. Some shit like that. I think that was what Trump was like. What the fuck was that? What was that about? The gut makes my skin crawl. All those traitors and pedos he shilled for. This guy. Yeah, there's been some conspiracies about this guy, right? With the red shoes. Something about the PDF files wearing red shoes. Something. Being in a club, right?
He didn't get mad or call me a left-wing lunatic. He took it in. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in the idea that Gaza could be
like
Dubai.
90% of society today. Me. I have a theory on why that has happened. It's connected with the internet, of course, but the smartphone it's like a mirror, right? When you do the selfie, listen to the name, selfie, self. So you're watching yourself in the mirror, and then you can create your own little fucking web page. You know, sort of like a celebrity has a page, right? Now every person in the world can have their own celebrity page with me, videos, look at what I'm doing and this and that. So I think that has actually started this whole me world. And I think this me world is really, if you break it down, it's satanic. Everybody's into themselves. And now the Pandora's box has been opened with that. You know what I mean? And there is really no going back unless society crumbles and the internet dies and shit like that. That's the only way. And that's probably not going to happen since AI is going to take over everything. What's Maher got to be narcissistic about? I think he's narcissistic. I think so. Obama gave $58 billion in cash to Iran. Several denominations of cash. And that's it. Yeah. Now everybody is a celebrity. You know what I mean? And I think that's why people don't care too much about Hollywood celebrities anymore. Because back before the internet and all that shit, they were the ones that was on the screen. Do you know what I mean? Let's face it. TV had some kind of a magic. Because what are we? We're all regular people, right? But whenever these Hollywood people was on the TV and you saw them in real life, you're like, oh, you got like mesmerized or some shit like that, right? But now they don't have exclusivity on that anymore. Now everybody can be on TV, which is the internet or whatever. So you don't care too much about these people anymore, like Ben Affleck and Tom Cruise or whatever the fuck. And it's blossomed into do as thou wilt. Yeah, just as long as you good, right?
Instead of hell. I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it. The border did need to be controlled. I'm glad the cops are getting their morale back. DEI had gone too far. Biological men shouldn't be playing women's sports. Europe should pay for their defense.
Hey, you're a little bit daring now, eh? Saying that, because you didn't say that during Biden, I don't think. Not that I've been following Bill Maher too much. But I don't think he dared to say that. What he just said, biological men should not be in women's sports. You can only say that now because Trump kind of, destroyed that thing. So now you can actually speak a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Programming. Obama gave nothing to Iran. That fag stole taxpayer dollars for Iran. And they probably paid him back some of that money or something like that. Maybe, a deal. Yeah, starstruck. Or would you say TV struck?
And of course, it makes sense
TV
that
struck.
Arab countries should take in Arab refugees, like the million Syrians who wound up in Germany when Saudi Arabia took none. He said to me, "You're right, they took none." I said, "Well, you should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia that the next time you see him."
Hey, do you guys remember when it was cool to see something about you on the internet? We're talking like 2006. Oh shit, there's something about me on the internet. Now it's the complete opposite. It's like, fuck, man, I don't want to be on there. You know what I mean? Fully. I just, I want some stuff on there. But now, apparently, you can ask the AI of Twitter, Grok, hey, tell me about this Vince guy. And he's like, and it digs, fuck, I don't know what it knows about you. And it explains shit about you. That's like having a fucking personal TMZ journalist specifically for you with this AI thing. Tell a vision.
He laughed. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump.
Doesn't that tell you something? That you can actually talk to this guy like a normal person, You couldn't do that with the fake Obama and the fake Clinton.
That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days. He was even okay when I checked him on the orangutan. Was.
Hey, you guys should stop being so racist talking about, skin color, orange skin color. Isn't that racist? Isn't it hypocrisy of the left? They're like, oh, we're against racism, yet they make fun of Trump being orange-skinned. Isn't that pure racism right there? Even if it's one person that has that skin color, which apparently it seems like.
He said to Dana White, Bill said my father was an orangutan, and I really love my father. And I said, well, Mr. President, I did that because I didn't like what you were doing regarding Obama's birth origins. I thought that was low. Again,
that's not the same thing. You want to know if the president is actually a U.S.-born citizen. You would want to know that. Has nothing to do with how he looks or whatever. Are you an American citizen? Yes or no? That's all. And if you are, fantastic. Just want to make sure. I'm surprised Trump didn't have him hosed down with a bug spray. Why? This guy, Bill Maher.
No anger. Just a little smile, as if to say, yeah, I get it. The most surreal part of the whole night was when I got home. I flew back right after the dinner, and I'm in bed watching 60 Minutes from the night before. And there's Trump in one of their stories, standing at a podium in a room that looked to me like one of the rooms and places we'd just been in. And he's ranting, disgusting, you're a terrible person.
Yeah, but see, this is how stupid he is here. Of course it's going to be different when he's talking to a bunch of vultures that keep attacking him and calling him everything under the sun, and also kind of wants him dead. Of course, it's going to be a different dynamic. You're 70 years old. Haven't you figured out that there is different dynamics depending on who the fuck you're talking to? That's pretty dumb, right? He's like, oh, I'm surprised that it's not the calm and, relaxed Trump that I met on the dinner when he's talking to pieces of shit motherfuckers that wants to attack him. It's dumb. Yeah, creepy crawly Bill Maher. You don't like this guy, right? Listen, I don't like him either. I don't care that much for this guy.
And I'm like, who's that guy? What happened to Glinda the Good Witch? And why can't we get the guy I met to be the public guy?
Because that would, need to be having people that aren't vultures and insane fucking crazy people talking to him. Then you can get the guy that you're talking about.
And I'm not saying it's our responsibility to do that. It's not. I'm just reporting exactly what I saw over...
You know what this guy needs? He needs to be experiencing what Trump is experiencing, and then he will just shut up about that part. You know what I mean? If he was on the podium and had these people attacking him for 8 years, then he would understand, like, okay, I see why he is like that.
2.5 hours. I went into the mine, and that's what's down there. A crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV a lot lives there, which I know is fucked up. It's just not as fucked up as I thought it was.
Oh, he's not playing anything, I think. He's just, everybody got different sides, right? Like, if you're kind to me, I'm kind to you right now. But if you're a complete asshole, then I will be an asshole back to you. I'm still the same guy. I'm not playing jack shit. I'm just responding to different situations. What the fuck's wrong with his mind?
And I have no illusions now that I'm back to work at my job that he might start a new list.
Yeah, it all depends on what the fuck you're saying.
Because I don't have a good feeling and will be critical about a lot of what he's doing. The trade war and disappearing people, ruling by decree, threatening judges, gutting the government with glee. But I also think he now understands I have a job to do, or at least he did on this night, because he said to me early on that he'd seen our last episode, which was the Friday before this dinner. And he said, I thought maybe you'd be nice, but you hit me really hard.
People like Maher grow up eating dick.
I did. Because I'm not going to pull my...
Hey, let me ask you, when did you start to hate this guy, Jack? As far as this, Maher has always been Hollywood liberal, and he believes all the bullshit has been told. Yeah, I've seen some clips of him saying some retarded stuff. He's like, I didn't like that Trump, when he was going to go out of office, he didn't want to leave. What do you mean he didn't want to leave? He left. That's all that matters. Whatever you think he doesn't want to, doesn't matter. He left, right? Yeah, he did leave, even though that election was the fucking weirdest, most suspicious election I've ever seen. And he's like, no, that was the most perfect election. Are you retarded? They're actually bred to do these things. Hey, when did you wake up to the conspiracies? The View, but a bit more coherent. The View, I can't listen to The View longer than 25 seconds. Can you believe it? 5 women cackling without a bell. I think they tried a bell one time. All right. The bell is ringing, but everybody was ignoring it. Just 5 women talking over each other. Fuck, man. Just can't stand that shit. He's always sucked. Shortly after Obama legalized propaganda inside the U.S., hated them all. Okay, that was apparently in 2014 or something. Somewhere around there, where he said that the media can just spew bullshit. They don't have to be saved from anything, like secured.
Hunches that presidents get to propose a third term for themselves. He understood that, and without animus. That doesn't mean he's not going to try to do it. Yeah. At one point, I said to him, you're scaring people. Do you really want to be scaring your own citizens so much? And I know now you're all saying, and what did he say to that? Honestly, I don't remember.
You would think that would be an important thing to remember. You're scaring people. And then when he gonna answer that, I won't even pay attention to what he said. What happened? And today, no sign of Trump reversing that Obama executive order. I agree, that's a little bit weird, right? But when it comes to Trump, you never know why he does the things he does. Maybe he isn't done with using the media against themselves. What I mean by that is, yeah, I know it's fucked up that they've been lying so much, right? But since this is a dualistic reality, there is always a positive and a negative with everything, right? So, yeah, they're lying and they're dangerous, the media, right? With what they're lying about. But the positive side of that is that they've been exposing themselves. And the more they do that, the more they lose power, credibility. And maybe that's why Trump hasn't reversed that thing just yet. Because maybe he's not done with using them. Do you know what I mean? He's using them against themselves, sort of a thing. Potentially, that's a theory. Bill Maher and his believe they are smarter than all conservatives, so they think they know what we're thinking. That is true. They have this smug, looking down on you, and entitled kind of a behavior. Only the pussy liberals are scared. And I do think they're way less than we think they are. Do you know what I mean? They might just be like 20% of the population. The retards, the blue-haired people. The blue aliens. I think their brains needs upgrading with freedom. Their brains absolutely needs upgrading. But I think, listen, we talked about how everybody's me today, right? I think they are the worst in that regard. They're lazy, both physically and mentally, very fucking lazy. And they just go where the status quo is, or whatever they think that is. They just follow that. So that means if the media says this, they'll just do that because they're lazy motherfuckers and they just want to belong to a group that looks to be the winning group. Trump is still very much a wild card. What do you think? There's always a possibility that we've been played even by Trump. But something tells me there is a possibility he is a good guy. You know what I mean? Why change the metric when you're winning? Trump and Maher are both paid for by the I country. That's all there is to it. Hey, what's up, Vacator? Yeah, I know it can definitely be seen as that, right? Since Trump and the I country appear to be very tight. But who knows what the game is? Do you know what I mean? Because I do think there is a lot of stuff we're not privy to. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that we'd have no fucking idea what's going on behind the scenes. Who really controls what? And if you are the good guy, you have to play a very clever game within that system. Do you know what I mean? You can't just say, fuck you, I country. Fuck you all. You have to be smart in that. At least that's what I'm hoping for. That's going on. I'm hoping that is what's going on. I like when my enemy thinks he's smarter than me. Yes, very good said. Listen, I have played that part a lot. And it's a very good part to play. Meaning, everybody's so afraid of looking stupid, right? Thinking it's better for them to appear smart rather than having people thinking you're stupid. The majority of people rather want people to think they're smart than them looking stupid. I think differently. I don't mind looking as a dumb motherfucker. Because just like you said, I like when my enemy thinks they're smarter than me. Because if you're not dumb, but everybody thinks you are in a huge advantage. Do you know what I mean? If you can just see past the whole, they think I'm dumb, what should I do? If you just ignore that, you are now in a very good position. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're not dumb, you're not dumb, no matter if the whole world says you are. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I agree very much with that. Oh, you mean 15-minute cities? Trigger my dislike easier. Well, that plays into our laziness. How we want everything to be convenient and efficient and all that shit. So there will be a lot of people who will praise the 15-minute cities. Why should I spend 1 hour going into the city and doing this and that? when I can do it right here, 15 minutes from where I am, and then I can spend the 45 minutes on something else, eating Cheetos, right? I think the I country provides intelligence in the Middle East to the U.S., and in exchange, we protect the I country, so we protect the petrodollar. Perhaps there are something more different going on backstage. Biden had no fear of looking tarded. But the problem is Biden actually was tarded to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean? He actually was tarded too. Not only did he look tarded, he was tarded. So it's a little bit of a difference there. But you know one that I don't think was tarded, that pretended to be tarded? That was George W.H. Walker, or whatever the fuck his name is. You know, the son. I don't think he was that dumb. He might not be the smartest guy in the world, but you want to make me believe that he actually answered a phone upside down. You know, if you go to Google, search for the George W.H. Bush holding phone upside down. Come on, man. You want me to believe that he answered the phone upside down? Come on. No, he was playing dumb so that, you know, they could get away with a bunch of shit. Oh, yeah, I know he went into Iraq and Afghanistan and whatever the fuck else. But he's dumb, you know? It's not his fault. He's dumb. I think that was what they were going for. I never gave two shits what people think. That's great. That's great. If they were good, they wouldn't need to push speech laws for the I country, which the White House is trying to do. I agree. But to play the other side here, potentially, like I said before, there's two sides to everything, right? Yeah, they're enforcing speech laws, right? But what if that is to expose the very thing? Like, look, you talk about the I people. The I people. The I country people. You can't talk about the I people. What if that's a way to show people, like, isn't it weird that we're supposedly for free speech, but you can't talk about the I people? It's no real difference from being able to talk about the LGBTQ people, right? Same shit. You swap the LGBT for the I people. W was a criminal like his dad. Yeah. Fucking Dubia was a stand-in for Dick Cheney. Who's Dubia? George W. Bush ran it all. I also don't think we should be importing Muslims that hate the I country in the first place. Yeah, my thing with that is, you know, if you import people that has a completely different view of life, it will end up in confrontation. It's like a relationship. If you're with somebody that is completely opposite of who you are, there will be fights and arguments. That's just how it goes.
Stop. So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats, a very generous amount of time, and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. My favorite part of the whole night was we were standing in the blowjob room. We were. And he said, you know, I've heard from a lot of people that were having this dinner. Not all, but a lot. And I said, same. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all. And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like, as opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really? That's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody.
I agree with that. I want woke-tards. I want to fill half of this chat with woke-tards. Just to, you know, speak our minds back and forth. But they are very cultish, you know, the lefties. The right can also be cultish to a certain degree, but they're less like that because at least they would entertain the idea of talking to the lefties. It's known nationally, and we're just getting a good head count on dual citizenship in our government. Big facts. Dubia George W., the son, Poppy, and Dick Cheney ran the entire... Yeah, that guy is pure evil, Dick Cheney. I do think, it might be a little bit superficial, but I do think sometimes on people's faces, you can see darkness. You know what I mean? Dick Cheney is one of them. The other guy, Soros, is another one. You can see the evil deeds being, sort of like engraved in their face. You know what I mean? Dual citizenship is bullshit. I kind of agree. Like, you're only one person. You should decide on which country you belong to, right? You can't be on two different, right? It's like if we're in a war and you're one of my greatest soldiers, you have a membership for the opponent army. It's like, yeah, I'm with you, but I'm also a little bit with them. Hey, fuck no. You're either with us or with them. Make up your mind right now. You know what I mean? Gun to your head. Well, if you put it that way, then I'm with you, I guess. And maybe that's not the best way to tackle it. Cheney is Vader, Darth Vader. No. You know who that is. That is Klaus Schwab from the WEF. That's Darth Vader.
Everybody else, and we can hold ours. Okay, that's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high. Damn, missed opportunity. All right, we got a great show. Here's Morgan and Josh.
I don't know if you can be high around Trump.